My purpose, as I wake up, I'm thinking before anything else, take out the father role, the chiropractor role, the realtor. Remove all my roles. I have a purpose. My purpose is to speak in an inspiring way to allow others to experience fulfillment, joy, and laughter. So that fires me up when I'm engaged in a conversation where someone else is excited.
Welcome, everyone, to the Road Less Traveled Show. This is a show about people who have left a successful career to go and do something new. I'm your co-host, Richard Coyne.
I'm your co-host, Bill Zahller.
And on today's show, we have Dr. Michael Fortini. Take it away, Bill.
Hi.
Great, thanks. Hey, Michael, welcome to the Road Less Traveled Show.
Excited to be here.
Thank you. Well, can you tell us a little bit about your former career and how long you were in that field?
Yeah, the field of chiropractic for me has, I guess, started in 1983. So how many years ago that is? 20 years of working in New York as a chiropractor and having a practice in Manhattan on the Upper West Side was exciting. And I ran a second practice in Bayside, Queens, and that was a home practice. And that was stressful enough where I had to eliminate one, focus on just the chiropractic practice in Queens, and then just New York wasn't healthy. So I needed to get out of town, and I packed up the wife and kids and moved to Asheville, where I practiced for another 10 years.
Great. And then what have you transitioned in your entrepreneurial split off? What have you been working on the side?
Real estate has been always an interest. Actually, that was when I practiced in New York, it was a home office. So I didn't realize the potential of real estate until I, sold the house and moved into another house. That just really opened my mind up to there's something here.
Right. Excellent.
Well, good. Yeah. So, Michael, along your way, as perhaps when it was you were full time practicing up in New York, or maybe it was after you moved, to your new location. Is there a humor story that you can share that was something along the way that made you go, I need to make a change. I need to do something a little different.
It's funny because I thought of that, and I think what the difference is, I was in the health field, right? So, and as a matter of fact, being that we're talking real estate here, I would pop a question on you guys if I wanted to really have fun and ask you, what do you think your number one asset is?
In terms of an asset that we own?
Right. And
okay.
Talk I would do when speaking to a group of people and have them think, hey, you got a car, you've got a beautiful house. Someone that had a wife sitting next to them, I'd say to them, you think it would be your wife, right? And they go, well, my kids. But the answer would be your health.
Oh, there you go. I was thinking of a physical asset, but you're absolutely right.
I know.
Your health is incredible. And I mean, yeah, my wife is incredibly important to me, but at some point in time, you're right. If I didn't have my health, then wow.
Can't take care of her.
Yeah.
Take care of him. Can't take care of the real estate. Can't take care of the kids.
Right. So
as I was in the house practicing and teaching about health, I was on the Long Island Expressway in between LaGuardia Airport and Kennedy Airport, where airplanes overhead, stuff falling down from those planes. And I walked over to the blinds and I swiped my finger on the blinds and I looked, and there was this soot that I did not see. And my 2-year-old, 1-year-old, whatever, was in a crib. And I looked at my wife and I showed her my finger and I said, we're out of here. I said, there's no way we could live a healthy life in between two airports with soot falling down on us. We have to hit the mountains. So it's not a humorous story, but it's humorous trying to pack up a wife and kids and a business to get out of town.
Wow. Yeah, I tell you what, that's incredible. And honestly, again, we live in a pretty clean country in the United States for the most part, certainly compared to other parts around the world where there are absolutely no pollution standards and whatnot. But for you to take notice of that and see the the black soot on the window like that, and recognize, wow, this is not healthy for us to be growing up in. That's awesome. Wow.
I felt like a hypocrite for sure.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Michael, that sounded like it was a reason for you to move from New York down here to Asheville. What was a deciding factor in you getting into the real estate? You touched on a little bit. You saw some of the value when you sold the one house, but was there like a defining moment you said, okay, I've got to pursue this path. I see the opportunities. Or was it just kind of gradual over time? You got more and more immersed into it?
Yeah, the defining moment was when purchasing back in New York that house, and I did it because the home office I couldn't think of going out and setting up a business and getting an apartment. It was an opportunity that came up. The sale of that house in 5 years created so much income. A switch just went off. But the problem was I was identifying with myself as a chiropractor, not a real estate person.
Mm-hmm.
Application of I'm not a real estate. I don't know real estate or how to do anything with real estate. It was a lucky thing. But when I moved down here, I was looking for a doctor that wanted to sell their practice, and because I didn't want to build a practice again, and I did find one, and he did not want to sell me the building. I wanted to buy the building, and he said no. He checked with his accountant, and it's too profitable for him to sell. It just doesn't make sense for him financially. He was like transparent with me, which made me again go, okay, I really need to look into real estate.
Right.
It might have been a second switch, Bill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And actually, there's something that, I'd say we'd all agree is that when you focus and tune your mind into something, stuff you didn't see before is really there. You start becoming more and more aware of other opportunities because you're thinking in that direction. And that's a pretty powerful thing. So yeah, makes sense. So
Volkswagen, everybody has a Volkswagen kind of thing. You see all those.
Yeah.
Focus. Same thing with real estate.
RAS. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Michael, as you were moving toward, spending more and more time and shifting your focus more and more to the real estate thing, were there some obstacles you encountered along the way?
Well, the first obstacle was when a buddy of mine was telling me you have to learn how to flip. And this was in 2005. He was just every few months telling me I made another 10,000. I made 10,000 here. And how you doing this? He's like, you buy a condo, and I got a guy in Florida, and you just buy it and you sell it 6 months later. It's really easy. So I remember doing that and saying, okay, let me give it a shot, because he did it 4, 5, 6 times. And I guess it was 2006, about that time, 2005, maybe, I don't know, somewhere around there. So I thought, I asked my accountant, how do I get a note for the bank? And he goes, I'll just write you a letter. I'm like, you just write a letter saying that I'm making money? He goes, yeah, that's all the bank needs. I was like, okay. So he wrote a letter. The bank gave me money. I got a condo and stuck some tenants in there. And then I went to flip it at around 2007.
So were you able to sell it?
No.
little thing called the housing crisis, oh, yikes. Sorry to hear that.
I bought the condo for 190 and I put it on the market for 205. I just wanted to make 15,000 flip like he was doing.
Yeah.
My agent said we should put it at 195. I said, how am I gonna make money? I can't. That's only 5,000 with the closing and everything. It was the market softening. 3 months, she kept lowering the price. So it went from 190 to 180, 170, 160, 150, 140. And I'm like, I don't understand. I call my friend up. I'm like, what are you talking about, the real estate? I can't, this isn't working. He goes, yeah, I don't know. Something's happening with the market. So what was the question, Bill? Was there a problem or a road bump? Yeah, that's a road bump.
Yikes. Sorry to hear that. Ooh.
Yeah, they're more than a few experience that with Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns. I mean, a few that got, blindsided by how quickly that turned. I mean, yeah. It was almost overnight. I mean, especially like I said, Florida, Arizona, some of the kind of the epicenters of that. It stuff got cut in half instantly. I mean, almost. And there was no, the other side of it, there was no takers, right? It was just all sellers, and it piled in, and people that owned, 10 to 1, somebody owned 10 single family homes, and then there were no buyers. It was a very unique time, and just the speed at which it happened, I think, was the most shocking thing to people.
It happened again, right?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And you see, I mean, it's odd because it seems like sometimes that, as a government, we don't learn from our mistakes, as the credit standards lowered back then, they call them ninja loans right now, no job, no assets, no income. And you just they even loan, I think 103% on some of the houses back then. You didn't have to have closing costs. You just showed up with a pen and then give loans to them. And then you see, I think like a month or so, I was reading the paper that, Congress again is pushing to lower standards to make things more affordable, which again, as you keep lowering standards, you're going to have higher and higher defaults as come about. So it's things are very, very much on a cycle, I believe, in that regard. But like you said, you keep your eyes wide open. And excellent. Well, Michael, can you tell us about one of your first victories, and as you kind of transition to the real estate side of it, something that you remember?
Sure. I would say the first victory is the house that I'm in right now, which is I purchased as an investment property, came with tenants, and I love the house. It was a very little bit of a fixer-upper. And the thing about it that was exciting was when I looked at the rooms, it's 2-floor. Upstairs, there were 2 bedrooms. And then there was this other big multi-purpose room. And I looked at it and I thought, that's another bedroom. And I pictured a wall, I pictured putting up a door, and the cap rate just, changed from 7 to 8 or 9 by this one room. So that was the first time I ever looked at something with intention to purchase it. And then with the tenancy and some friends AirBNBing, I slowly started to move out tenants and replace it with AirBNB, and the cap rate went up again. So
wow.
That's my first win.
Yeah. And it's great to be able to, look at something and then you have one plan, even if it's working, you can reassess and adapt and then go to even a more successful route, like with Airbnb, as you saw what was happening out there in the marketplace, because it is ever changing, right? I mean, one time things get hot, they get too hot, and then things come back into fashion. Right. That's great. Yeah.
Pros and cons, because with tenancy, you've got a steady income for at least for a year. With Airbnb, you don't know what it's going to be.
Right.
Yeah, we lived in Atlanta for many years, and every time I would go into a house, I would look to see and look at this massive vaulted 2-story family room kind of thing, and I kept looking at this, going, "Oh my God, that's a bedroom or 2." That's just wasted. It's just not there because somebody wanted to have crazy space. And, it is interesting how your mind thinks. And, when you start to see those possibilities, again, you take you figure out how to get another bathroom in a place, figure out how to get another bedroom in a place. I mean, that unlocks incredible value in a house. And we even look at that in the context of apartments. Is there a way that we could, get washer dryer hookups in this particular place? Is there a place for it? Okay, you don't have enough space for side by side, so do a stack. Can we still figure out how to get that in? And as long as the plumbing is somewhat nearby, that could actually work. So yeah, we look for things like that.
It's like I used to have a metal detector when I was a kid, and everybody loves treasure hunting. So in real estate, there are gems out there that you guys see that other people don't see. And that's the fun of real estate, is what is it that your mind sees that other people have passed? For me, anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So Michael, in your focus now, where you're focusing more and more on the real estate, is there anything funny that's happened to you along the way?
Trying to think of things that are humorous. I mean, anything that seems to be like when I'm looking for land and there's a problem with photography and real estate. I think there needs to be some people that have drones that could take a lot more pictures of angles of things, because when I look at the picture of the land, I'm like, I'll go through 20, 30 pictures and I'm like, well, that doesn't look so bad. But when I get there, it's humorous.
Completely unbuildable. The hill is actually really like this.
Why didn't they take that picture? How about that? So it's kind of like, yeah, I'll be standing in the middle of the woods laughing by myself going, again, they caught me.
Right. Actually, from my background in the IT world, we used to call that, well, that's the demo you saw. That's not the real product. That's the demo.
The trailer. Yeah.
Right.
Well, Michael, where are you today on your real estate journey as you're building out that? Where are you now?
So health and wealth. That's it. I wake up each morning thinking, what could I do one click healthier? Because if we get, in my judgment, too locked up with finance and real estate and money, and we're not taking care of ourselves along the way, we're going to spend a lot of that money later on to try to get back our health. Mm-hmm. So health is still out there. I still have a chiropractic office inside a holistic center, and I still do practice marketing and education. However, there's something exciting about, for me, land purchase, building. I want to look at building some duplexes. Mm-hmm. There's a pull that I have. However, the market is pushing back because the price of lumber in the past year has gone up a bit. Land, houses, everything. It's just a challenge right now. And I'm kind of new in the market with real estate to understand how to work this type of market. But I still real estate pull.
Mm-hmm. Is it your main focus then would be new development of like duplexes, quads, that kind of asset? Okay. Right. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. I mean, and there's certainly a need for that. I mean, as you look around, but like you said, the challenge you have is that, the inflationary pressure with land and everything keeps chasing at as everything continues to rise in prices.
Michael, you talked about when you moved your practice, you wanted to buy the building, but you were not able to. Can you go on from there? Tell us a little more about your next step.
Yeah. So 10 years of practicing in the office. The lease was coming up to the end, and I went to the owner again and shared with him that I could sign on a new lease. Are you prepared now to sell the building? He said, let me check with my financial advisor. So he checks with his financial advisor, and he came back and he was transparent. And he said, my advisor says it's even worse now financially for me to sell this building to you because I'm so profitable, and the taxes and the way that he was set up, it just wouldn't work. So he needed to not sell. And that just put a, third burn of a fire inside me saying, okay, I need to get a building. So it was looking for the gem, the building that I found I was looking for something, because in office, I just need about 1,000, 1,500 square feet. So a commercial building of that size, it was just hard to find for whatever reason that was in a location, that suited me. So I opened my range and my scope up, and I just said, let me just do that. I don't know. It was just a feeling to do that. I didn't know why. And that's the other thing with real estate. Sometimes I don't know why. I have a feeling, an intuition to do something, just follow it. And then, maybe make a call to one of you guys and say, hey, this is something that's coming up. Any ideas you have around this as a mastermind? And when I did do that, the next day something popped up on the market, which was a 4,800 square foot building. And the price was 3 times what I wanted to pay. And I don't need that much space. And of course, I'm thinking, okay, let me just start renting it out. But it was too chopped up into rooms. And then the idea came, how about I rent out each room? So it was an unfolding that made me think, how about we get a collective of acupuncture, massage, Reiki, osteopath, physical therapies. And that's what we have now. We have literally 10 practitioners in a building, and the way that it's set up and the rents that are set up, everything's taken care of until
That's awesome. So you bought the pie and you sold the slices.
Well said.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's awesome. And it puts you in a position where you're owning the whole thing, and you've got a steady stream of multiple streams of income coming in there. That's great. Yeah. So Michael, what does the future look like? What's the look way down the road? You know, we know we don't have a crystal ball, but at the same point in time, look down the road. What do you see?
Well, something pops up about doing what I did again, just duplicating it, getting another building somewhere, maybe down south, where it's, you know, too big for one doctor, but I can split it up and create a second holistic center. Mm-hmm. So that comes up for me. I recently got into trailer camping, and so I bought a trailer, and it's hard to find land to put a trailer, like a campsite. They're all crowded. So purchasing some land and building out a small park is on my horizon. I'm excited about that. And then there's building a duplex or two or three. Mm-hmm. So it's all out there, and I just keep on getting pings, and whatever whatever comes up first or is available is what I'll move towards.
Makes sense.
AirBNB. I'm doing great with this Airbnb. I'd like another Airbnb. Mm-hmm. But try to buy a house right now that has a good price on it. Good luck.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, Mike, what's something you've recently implemented in your business that's helped you with your goals? Is there some either tool or methodology or something you've done to kind of help expand that?
Give me an idea of a tool.
It could be anything like from a CRM or a networking, or just something that you've recently implemented that you know you could recommend, or just a daily habit that would help you. Anything that kind of helped you along your path that you could see success from.
Well, so that would be surrounding leadership for me. Mm-hmm. You know, being appreciative, number one, because no matter what happens in the market and no matter what happens in my life, there's something good to look at. So it's a choice. So each day, a habit that I have is to appreciate what is working. Mm-hmm. It keeps me in the mood and the focus to continue to look for property and see things. Like Rich said before, is sometimes people don't see things and you see them. Well, if you're angry and you're upset and you're not happy and not appreciative, then trust me, the probability of you seeing things is much less.
Yeah. Right. Totally agree with that. I mean, to me, I think that's the biggest help for me is, you know, it's like the mastermind, but being around like-minded people, discussing ideas, and it gets you just thinking about those ideas and the opportunities. You just goes forward, like the VW example, you know, that we talk about, that activating system that, you know, you don't notice it filters out until it becomes important to you. So as you discuss more deals, more opportunities, and you're constantly thinking, I think they just present themselves. And I believe that's, a great way to look at it.
And I love the concept of gratitude. You know, again, this, you know, being happy with what you have, and obviously we want to continue to grow, and in that way we can serve more people, et cetera. But at the same one time, you know, the incredible gift that we have in this country, that we have, you know, the ability to choose what we do and things like that is amazing. And being grateful for that, to me, again, I think just puts you in that positive mindset. And again, opportunities expose themselves when you are in that receptive mode. So again, to me, that's very powerful as well.
Yeah, it falls under laws of attraction. There's a way that we don't have to work so hard. We could work smarter by holding some values and principles of integrity, honesty, you know, appreciation, gratitude being right up there. So that this way, once again, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing before as a matter of fact, I'll read right here. It's on my, let's take it off just for fun for the viewing audience, if there is. So this is attached on my computer, which reminds me every day that my purpose, and that's probably backwards, but my purpose is to speak in an inspiring way to allow others to experience fulfillment, joy, and laughter. So that's my purpose. So My purpose, as I wake up, I'm thinking before anything else, take out the father role, the chiropractor role, the realtor, remove all my roles. I have a purpose. My purpose, I wrote down, is to speak in an inspiring way to allow others to experience fulfillment, joy, and laughter. So that fires me up when I'm engaged in a conversation where someone else is excited. And and because it's easy for me, I'm from New York, I'm Italian, I can easily flip into critical, easily flip into someone's talking drama, I can go that route and join them. But if I pull out the best leader part of me, then the other person's feeling better. And before you know it, there's this network of friends, of business people. And you know what? Trying to find real estate on your own and do this kind of thing on your own is harder if you don't have a group of people that would want to support you. That is, a conflicting interest.
Right. Like-minded individuals. That's, again, a very, very powerful thing to be around people that want to continue to improve themselves. They want to focus on the positive. They want to grow, so.
As a matter of fact, I think all three of us went in on day one to Korea, didn't we? I mean, I met both you guys.
I think it's right.
I think you're right. I think we all did meet at the same time. Yeah.
First month or something like that. We went to the beginning meeting together and stuff, right? So we were years later.
So. Yeah, it's amazing. There's definitely we've all been able to accomplish with others help. And again, I think that you take inspiration from others. And again, we do this podcast. You have your own podcast. We'll reference that in the show notes, where our goal is to help other people. A lot of people were gracious with us as we were getting started to give us some ideas, some encouragement, some thoughts and guidance, so we want to do that for others. So,
yeah. And I think it's, so right. Like helping other people in the mindset. I think it was the Millionaire Mindset or one of the books similar to that, talked about the poor talk about people, the middle class talk about things, possessions, and the wealthy talk about ideas. And I think that's, so instrumental to what you're really trying to create, what's important and what's on your radar, what you focus on. Like you said, what you focus on is what you tend to attract as far as, partnerships and whatnot. So I think it's a great thing to keep in mind.
Yeah. And think of it as a landlord too. You guys have, dozens, maybe hundreds now of tenants that depend on you for their life. And the rules that you set, the rents that you set, the way you keep the building, how you do what you do, you have a choice to increase profits by decreasing their lifestyle or finding a balance.
Yeah.
You feel filled with integrity, and other business people look at you and go, I want to work with these guys because they take care of people. So
we have two goals. We want to make our investors money, and we want to improve the places that we own to make them a better place, because that's where this is the residents' home. We want to do right by them and help them enjoy the best they can with where they live. So yeah.
But that second part's going to make you less money,
That's okay. We find a way to balance it. Again, it is a balance. It can't all be one-sided, because we've looked at places where it was completely one-sided, and it was just very much a shame how the residents were some of the stuff they were having to put up with, and that's not okay. That's not okay.
Good.
And we play the long game too. We're not in this to a quick flip and we're out. We're long game, and yes, it may cost profits on one end, but on the other end, if we have satisfied residents there and they stay for 3 years, we didn't have to turn it 3 times. It may make it back also. So there's different ways to look at it, and we weigh all that, and we want it to be a good experience for everyone involved in our projects.
That's more accurate. There's, if I were to say it different now, because you just opened my mind up to that, there's less short-term profit in taking advantage of others, but long-term profit to serve others. So that would be the tool.
Yeah. Excellent.
Well said. So Michael, is there any advice you would give somebody who's considering making a path change?
Take in information every day, 30 minutes a day, every day of information, and find that as that information comes in, what excites you, and then move more in that place, because how many dozen roads are there in real estate?
Mm-hmm. Quite a few.
go with the passion.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, Mike, what's a way for listeners to reach out to learn more about what you're doing? If it's in the building, the new properties, land, any of the things you mentioned you're interested in pursuing, maybe a partnership or just learn more about what you're doing with those, what's the best way to contact you?
Well, it would still be in the area of health. So the podcast that we run is How Are You Healing? And the obvious twist on that is most people say, hi, how are you feeling? And today, too many people feel okay, but they have these quiet little diseases in them. Mm-hmm. Big C being one. So we talk about what healing is in that podcast. And being abundant and okay financially is part of health. Mm-hmm. So we talk a bit about that there also. The website is WNCHolisticCenter.com. So that's our holistic center. Okay. If you have any questions.
Yeah, we'll make sure we should add that in the show notes. And excellent.
Great. Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Mike, we want to thank you for being on the Road Less Traveled show today. We really enjoyed the conversation and wish you continued success.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you, Michael. Really appreciate you being on, and thank you. We also want to thank our listeners for tuning in. Please continue to do so. Give us a 5-star rating so we can continue bringing more great content with folks like Dr. Michael Fortini. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, Park Capital Partners, and again, please continue to join us, folks. And remember, the road less traveled may be calling you. We recommend that you listen and take action. Thanks for joining.